All right, let's see. How's about, oh, what if we start at the beginning? Hey, everybody, it is DeKesha Williams, your virtual COO. And hopefully you guys can see my screen. Let's make sure, mic check, mic check. All right, who is out there who's joining me today for day number 2? What's up, everybody? I'm excited. You guys really showed up and showed out yesterday, so I am glad to be back for day 2. All right, so mic check, mic check. Hey, Johnny Mac, welcome back. Yes, let's go ahead and get started. Great day, great day. So yes, you guys can see me good. We got the sound is good. Want to make sure that I have, all right, awesome. Got some, make sure my battery is good. All right, so welcome back, everyone. Today is day 2 of the hashtag 5-Figure Launch Masterclass series, and I am excited that you guys are back. We had such a great time yesterday. If this is the first time that you are tuning in to the broadcast, let me go ahead and share what the mission of the next couple of days is, okay? And at the end of the day, my mission is, number 1, to help entrepreneurs create their first 5-figure launch using webinars so that you can create a freedom-based lifestyle that you deserve. But from a personal standpoint, I really truly want to help 50 entrepreneurs. Now, typically I work with women entrepreneurs, but I'm going to say 50 entrepreneurs to have their first figure launch. If that is you, I want you to comment below me so that I can know who I am talking to, who I'm directly speaking to. So I'll repeat it. I am looking specifically to work. Let me put this on Do Not Disturb. Otherwise, I'll keep getting notifications. But yeah, I'm literally looking specifically to work with 50 entrepreneurs who have never experienced a 5-figure launch online. All right, so again, you guys that are here, and you are here, number 1, because you want to make money online, okay? You want to create a freedom-based lifestyle. You want to be able to not be confined to a cubicle. If some of you are still in a cubicle, some of you might be confined to like a corner office. I don't really know, right? And then you want to be able to create revenue that is not directly attached to your labor. And so we're going to talk a lot about that today. And we're going to kind of recap too, right? So listen, let me know if this is for you. If you're tired of buying course after course, like that was me. Hey, Effie. Hey, Trinette. Hey, Latoya. Hey, Britt. You also have a wealth of information. I have literally begun emails, inbox messages, comments on the videos of people who fit right into this category. I was sharing with you yesterday about one lady, and it touched me, straight to my heart, because she works in, I'm not sure where, but I think she works in like maybe Atlanta or something like that. And then she's only able to get home twice out of the month to be with her family. So, when I see that people are having to, sacrifice like that, it's one of those things that it's like, well, what can I do to help that person create the lifestyle that they deserve, right? Make sense? All right, so that's kind of what we're here. And so as we jump into today's content, hey, Chandra Boo, hey, Special D, we will discuss how you can increase enrollment in your signature program using webinar launches in your business. And I call them webinar launches because by the time you get to the end of this masterclass, you're going to realize that the common denominator is what? Hashtag webinars. Somebody type webinars down in that feed. All right. So that's why I call them webinar launches specifically. All right, so just to kind of recap what you missed, if you missed yesterday's training, and I hope that you guys had an opportunity to go back and listen to them. They will only be available online until the end of the week, and we will be pulling them down. And so yesterday we talked about, yes, we talked about launches. Yes, we talked about how launches can create 5 figures in your business, or 5-figure launches in your business, right? But we also talked about the importance of developing a relationship with your audience, and really truly how that relationship impacts your upcoming launch, because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, right? So I think that oftentimes we take for granted developing that relationship. And one of the most important things that I shared yesterday was the importance of sharing your story. And so I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to think about what your story, or what that aha moment was for you, that you can share with your audience to build a connection with your audience. And so if you haven't had the opportunity, I strongly encourage you to take some time and really think about, what's my story? Because I know when I first started in this space, really about 8 years ago, and I'm gonna drink today, y'all, because yesterday I talked for a long time. Couldn't wait to hang up and drink my tea or lemonade, whatever it was. But when I first started, I felt like I had to have the homeless story. I felt like I had to have the incarceration story. But that's not everybody's story. It's not my story. And so, I don't want you to feel like you have to have the homeless story. I don't want you to feel like you have to have the incarceration story. We all have a different journey. I'm just a chick that lost the same job twice, building a 6-figure business from the comfort of my own home. And that's really my story. And so thank you so much, Vanessa, for sharing. And so, it makes me personable. So that's kind of what we focused on yesterday. And so I urge you to go back and, and watch yesterday's masterclass. And then we talked about, really how using webinars can make your next launch successful. And I'm just going to turn my team down so it won't ping in my background, because they're over here working, and I'm over here teaching you guys. All right, so what's honey, an Arnold Palmer. I promise you it's an Arnold Palmer. It's too early. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but I promise you, Sherry, it is an Arnold Palmer. It is sweet tea and lemonade. I had to get something to eat before I got on here today. But yeah, so you are in a position where you can, using webinars, it helps you create a list of actively interested prospects. Also, I shared yesterday that 40% of people that show up to your webinar become prospective clients. And then the other thing point that I really wanted to drive home was that the targeted audience that you get when you actually do a webinar are really truly people that are interested in the products and services that you have to offer. And we talk about that in our program, because your marketing message is what is really crucial to get people to show up to your webinar. And that's one of the, we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. But that's a part of the profit blueprint that I really, I created my business off of this blueprint. So I'm going to be sharing that with you tomorrow. So for those of you all that are new, Effie, I think we've been connected for a while, but if this is your first time, I want to know, if you're watching the replay and this is the first time that you've ever experienced DeKesha C. Williams, your virtual COO, do me a favor and say, that is me, my first time. Let me know if this is the first time. Nene, welcome back. You came back. So yeah, so if this is your first time, please let me know, like, hey, girl, I'm just getting connected with you. And the reason why I say that is because, I like to make sure that I share who I am, how in the world did I get to this place that I am, how you became connected with me, right? So again, my name is DeKesha C. Williams, your virtual COO, and I really am, I'm a virtual COO. I'm a Chief Operations Officer, meaning that I help entrepreneurs who are currently really peaking the six-figure mark or six figures and above. And I help them out with building their systems, the automations, and the processes. And I really help them to find the leaks in their business, right? Where they're leaving money on the table. But then when you come to my entrepreneurs that have not quite made, I'm a whole vibe and you love it. Yes, honey, welcome back, welcome back. I told y'all this is what you get. So I'm so glad that you love it. I'm so glad that you are back. But not only for my aspiring six-figure entrepreneurs, it's really all about showing them how they can make their first five figures. And I truly believe that you can do that 4 times out of the year for $25,000 launch. Hey, Janae, welcome, my dear. Again, I've helped clients increase their revenue by over 200% in less than 12 months. For most of you all, again, I'm a mompreneur, a wine connoisseur, and I truly, truly, truly believe that you too can create a lifestyle business and a freedom-based business that you deserve. And you guys know that, you know, being a virtual COO, being in this position allows me to be present for Deja and Jaden. Just got off the phone with my daughter. So again, August 24, 2011, I turned in my pink slip, y'all. Somebody type pink slip. Told them jokers I won't coming back. I told them I won't coming back. And yeah, I left for 2 years. In February 2014, I got my last paycheck. They was like, we ain't paying you no more. We're not paying you anyway. But no, and so that experience and that journey is really, you know, I've been in a position where I've had a shoe company. I've done real estate. I've been a district manager for over 20 plus years. And so that's really where I started to understand what it was like to build and grow a team. And be able to run a team from a distance, because I had over 67 plus employees working for me over 5 states across Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maryland, and Virginia. So I spent a lot of time in Hartsfield International Airport, but it also took me away from my family. And I was like, hey, dude, that's how I talk to Jesus. That's how I talk to God. Like, hey, excuse me, but we got to make a change here. I don't know how y'all have y'all conversations, but that's how I have mine. So fast forward to today, came across this thing called webinars, you guys. I'm telling you, right? And it has changed my life. Don't be laughing at me, Britt. That's how I talk to them. They listen. Listen. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, so today we're going to focus on the type of product launches that utilize the webinar platform. And I think this is going to be very, very, very informative for you. So if you, if you're learning anything, if you're walking away with anything, do me a favor and make sure that you guys share this out. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to share it out as I can as well. Awesome. All right, so I shared it out. Thank you, Karen. Karen, welcome. I think you joined the group yesterday. So, so the type of product launches that utilize webinars, number 1 is the workshop conference model. So by show of hands, how many of you have actually hosted a workshop model, or you've actually put on like a full-fledged conference in your business? I'd love to know how many of you have utilized this. And the reason why I think it's important is because this type of model can work with any type of, especially your high dollar programs. And when I say high dollar programs, I mean like $30,000 program, $10,000 programs. So let me ask this question. How many of you have a $10,000 program in your business? Show of hands, write 10,000 if you have a $10,000 program in your business. If you do, I salute you. How many of you are awesome? Awesome. She says she's working towards doing workshops this year. How many of you have a $25,000 program? Uh-oh, I see some tears. $25,000 program? Going once? Going twice? Oh, I see some hands. I see some hands. We got some $10,000. Not yet. $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. So, all right, I'm sorry. No, but seriously, how many of you have $10,000? Do you got a $25,000? Like these are opportunities where these programs can be sold, right? But one of the things that I like to point out, right? I don't know about y'all, but I did 2 last year. Like I did 2 intensives last year, Get Ish Done Live, where they came in for 2 days and we really pulled out the white papers and really mapped out the strategy in their business. But the thing about it is you got to find the venue. There's logistics. Some of my students now, they don't have an audience. And the biggest issue is getting butts in seats. Oh my gosh, like, oh my God, like, do you realize how hard it is to get people to commit to put in the butts in the seats? And so it's, you know, there's a strategy that has to happen in order to, you know, get butts in the seats, especially when you really don't have an audience, when you really don't have a tribe. You're not about the logistical life. I mean, I will be the first one to tell you, like, I thank God for my team. I do. I thank God for my team. I thank God for my super friends. I thank God for my business besties, because they keep me sane when it comes time for our events. Even Trinette's on here. Trinette was helping me stuff bags the night before Get Ish Done Live. Like, I mean, there's so much that goes with it. And let's not talk about negotiating contracts. Did you even know that you could negotiate the contracts and the room rate with the sales representative? Like, I'm like, listen, I'm spending this money. Like, can I even get my room comped? Like, there's so much that goes into the logistics of getting butts in seats and hosting a live event. And it's I'm not saying that it's anything wrong, but I'm just telling you what goes into actually, you know, a live event. Like, last year we did an event in Louisville. I did an event in Chantilly, Virginia. I did an event in Largo, Maryland. Like I had to get a venue for a VIP live, like a VIP day. I've done 2 VIP days in the last probably 90 days where they come in and work one-on-one specifically with myself. But it's just so much, right? And then you have to take in consideration the cost of the room rate, the additional cost that comes with creating impactful events. And these events, I'm not talking about no 4-hour workshop. When I'm talking about a conference, I'm talking about a 2-3 day event. And they say that the best converting conference is a 3-day event, right? And I remember when I started 8.5 years ago, let me tell y'all something, let alone getting out the house, putting on clothes, putting on a face, getting the hair done. Like, I was not trying to have a live event. For the life of me, I think the inner circle is actually who are the ones that pushed me to actually do my first live event, because they were really, really, really passionate about coming together and being able to come in one room and be able to learn under the leadership of myself and, you know, some of my super friends. And so we had a phenomenal time, but there's so many logistics that go with, you know, doing a live event, right? Then you have the video series. So number 1 is the workshop conference. I want y'all to jot this down in your notes, all right? Number 2 is the video series. Very similar to, the video series is very similar to kind of what I'm doing. I'm doing a 3-day masterclass series, right? And this particular one, I am just doing, I have a Logitech C920. Somebody asked me about the camera that I use. So I have a Logitech C920. If I wanted to get really fancy, I could use my handy dandy Mevo, right? I love my Mevo. Mevo is very clear. It's an HD camera. This is a Mevo Plus. But you know, you can record video series with Logitech HD, Logitech C920s, right? Or you can get real fancy up in here. And I don't know if Amy is on. Amy Garlick is the video person that helps with my team when my VIP clients come in. My VIP clients actually get it's a 2-camera, sometimes a 3-camera video segment of the VIP day. But that's anyway. But we help them with that. So when you do a video series, right, or 3-part masterclass, 3-part video series, like how many of you all have a studio at home where you got a 3-camera video, like the whole thing going on, right? How many of you are familiar with video editing and video production? Like, what? Now I kind of dabble just a little bit, but that is not my forte. Remember I said I had a team? Absolutely, right? Hey, Bryce. Hey, Rhonda. And then, you know, what about the costs that go into, you know, editing? Like it takes, and I tip my hat off to the video editing people because it takes a long time to actually come up with a really good video. Especially when, because I'm very very particular about how the brand looks. And so I was really excited about the most recent, and this was just there's a helicopter behind me, but this was just the intro that's now on my fan page. So I don't know if you guys have been to my fan page recently and seen just the intro video. Now I'm so excited that we have a video on our fan page, but I'm very picky when it comes to that. And so that took, oh my God, probably 3 or 4 days to get the final touches on just that. So imagine trying to put a 3-part video series with a video production team and the microphones, the cameras, the studio crew, the editing crew, the production crew, everything that goes into the 3-camera video shoots, 2-camera video shoots, Mevo video shoots, whatever. Even me sitting here in front of you, right? It takes lights. The green screen is actually in my office, but I did a video earlier this week with the green screen. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it takes a lot that goes into quality videos, right? I can barely hit the live button, so I have no editing skills. Hey, Belton. And so, you know, and I'm really at a point where I want to help my audience up level and utilize their webinars with green screens. Like we haven't even gotten to the point where we're talking about webinars with green screen. All right. And so I'm excited about, you know, really introducing that. And so when you think about doing a workshop, when you think about doing a conference, right? And I didn't share this earlier, but most successful workshop leaders or conference leaders are doing, there's my contract guy right there, Velton Shaw. Velton's going to be doing a training in our Get It Done coaching program because Velton saved me some money. So a quick plug, when I did my Get It Done live in Chantilly. And so when I get contracts, Velton is the one that I call. So shout out to Velton Shaw. I appreciate you. But yeah, so most successful influencers, when they are done with like their workshop or their conference, do you guys realize that on the back end side, they actually come back home, come back to their office and host a webinar where they're sharing some of the content that they shared from the live event. And they're doing that because everyone is not in a position to travel, you know, internationally to come and participate in your event. Depending on when you host your event, you know, these individuals are not, you know, they might be attending another event, so they're not able to get to your event. And so they, on the back end of the workshop side, right? Let's back up for a second. On the workshop side or the conference side, they're actually doing a webinar so that they can catch people that registered that wasn't able to show, who wanted to show, but it conflicted with their schedule, right? And then think about the the video series, right? And the person that I love, I mean, this person, their video series is freaking phenomenal. I know that they have the video production, but let me tell you, he has a degree in like I think it's like film or video or something like that. And so if you guys are familiar with James Wetmore, when he launches and he does his video series, like it is like this dude had like Back to the Future series where he had a Back to the Future car. Like, I mean, he like goes all out. And so they are out on set, like doing their video series. And so again, at the end of the 3-part video series, what do you think is coming next, you guys? It's the freaking webinar. What did I share with you yesterday? I use live stream for awareness and I use webinars for conversion. I want you to write that down. Live stream for awareness and webinars for conversion, right? I'm writing this down. All right, is this helping anybody so far? Hey, Cynthia. Cynthia, you're gonna love this one. This one is just for you, my boo. And so the next one is challenge launches. How many of you have a challenge planned or you've done a challenge in the past? Challenge launches are absolutely so much fun. I absolutely love challenge launches, right? Remember yesterday I was telling you about Mordecai? Mordecai hired me to help him put together a health and wellness challenge, right? So yesterday I told you he had a 14,000 email list, but he had attempted to launch from just using email launch campaign. But what we did was we came up together with, what do we call Mordecai's challenge? It was, I can see the purple and gray. I can't even think of what we called, that's gonna drive me crazy. But Mordecai, we did the, oh God, it was a weight loss challenge. I know it was a weight loss challenge. But we literally together, we came up with the challenge activities. We came up with the emails that go out. We came up with the engagement sequence that goes out. I was there to support him and his brand when he did his challenge. And so he had over 250 people enroll in his challenge, and he closed 2 of them in a $12,000 one-on-one coaching program, which generated $24,000 from a challenge, right? And remember, let me see, there it is. So remember, I told you as well about Natalie. Natalie just recently finished up a challenge as well. Her challenge was the Dream Uni Challenge, and she enrolled people into the Dream Uni formula. And so I think she had over 360 something people register for her challenge. And again, same thing, you guys. We came up with the day-to-day activities, and I gave them the strategy on how to implement the actual challenge. She went live. She did the challenge activities every day in her group. And she did a webinar at the end, and she ended up closing like 18 or 19 people. I believe it was a 4.5% or 4.9. So 5% conversion rate from her challenge. How cool is that? She literally, I think we added it up yesterday. It was about 9,600. So if she closes one more person, that's a $10,000 launch. How many of you could use a $10,000 launch in your business, right? So depending on the industry that you're in, a challenge might make sense for your industry, right? And, you know, when you're doing a challenge, you have to be in a position where you can keep their attention for a minimum of 5 to 7 days. Challenges, it's very, very high engagement, but challenges, the drop-off rate around day 3, sure, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I've done a challenge at least 4 or 5 times in the last 18 months. And it's something about day 3 where the engagement level starts to go down, right? So you have to create a process where you can create engagement and excitement throughout the entire challenge process. Does that make sense? And so guess what happens on the back of the webinar? Back of the challenge. You got it. A webinar, you guys. Why is that? Because the webinar is the conversion mechanism. A webinar is a conversion methodology. Like the experience at the workshop, the experience at the conference is the engagement activity that you're putting your tribe through. You're putting your audience through so that they can get the experience of what it is to work with you, your training style. The challenge is the engagement activity so that they can understand what it's like to work with you. The 3-day masterclass series, what you're going through it's a value added experience. Is y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Is y'all? I said is y'all. Picking up what I'm putting down. Hopefully this is helping you guys, okay? Chandra said me. Oh, good. Nini said it's helping. And then you have webinar launches. So a webinar launch is literally where you're just creating the excitement and the engagement for an upcoming masterclass. You see this more often when people are in a position where they actually host a webinar like every single month. I urge my students to do a minimum of 1 webinar a month. All right. Don't just do the webinars when you are in a cash flow crunch and you need to get people on the phone. If you consistently do a webinar in your business, guess what? You will consistently have leads coming into your business because you consistently have people registering for your webinar, getting on your email list, getting into your email sequence that you should have set up, right? Getting into your ecosystem. That is the reason that the webinar is it's just so important, and it's such a crucial element of one of the 4 product launch types, okay? And so with a webinar, y'all, I don't have to leave from home. I can do a webinar from anywhere. I have the ability to create a 45 to 60 minute, maybe even 90-minute broadcast. You can do it from the comfort of your home. Remember yesterday I did like this, and I was like, yep, turn my camera off for a second. You have the ability to do video or non-video webinar presentations. So many people get, create this fear around, oh my God, I'm going to be on camera. They're going to be looking at me. Like, you all may or may not be looking at me, but hopefully you're taking notes, right? You got your pen and you're taking notes. So some people may be looking at me, talking on my hands and all of that, but I could easily turn the camera off and create a non-video webinar presentation, all right? So don't overcomplicate a simplistic process. Somebody write that down. Take that, jot that down in your notes. Don't overcomplicate a simplistic process, all right? And what that really means is don't spend so much time on the fact of the things that are not really important. And that's being on camera. Because at the end of the day, what's really important is the message and the transformation that you're going to provide for your audience. Does that make sense? All right, awesome. And then think about the ability to shift the call to action, right? So you can have different calls to actions on your webinar. You can invite them to join a program. You can invite them to have a conversation with you. And think about if you have a constant CTA or call to action or a consistent call to action, you can automate the presentation based on the desired results. If you're converting your webinar at 5%, like I was sharing with you, Natalie did, she had 4.9, so 5% conversion rate, right? If you're converting at a 5% conversion rate, you can actually automate that webinar and literally drive traffic to that webinar for people that are having the pain point that it is that, your area of genius. And you could literally, make money, predictable income, automated income, passive income, whatever it is that you desire, right? And so that's one of the reasons why, yesterday we talked about the live webinar, the automated webinar, and the on-demand webinar, right? And it's because you can position yourself where you can make passive income with little to no effort. Is this helping anybody? How many of you under the sound of my voice want to make like passive income? Even if it's like $2,000 a month, it's $2,000 a month of passive income, little to no effort. Is that okay with you? I just want you to type 2,000 for me. Can you type $2,000 in the comments below? I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so keep going, right? Oh my God, Crystal. Let me tell you about Crystal Cunningham, right? Crystal was a part of the Webinar Success Blueprint. one of the first programs when I relaunched the Webinar Success Blueprint. And it was so funny because Crystal used to go live all of the time. I used to catch her online all of the time. And she would have 50 something people, 70 something people on her live stream, but she was not making money from going live. And this is why I tell you, like, if you're not making money from going live, you better get yourself a webinar. All right. And so she came into, thank you. Hey, Jacqueline. So she came into the program and she was like, look, I'm gonna use Zoom. I'm gonna do my webinar. I've been in DeKesha's program. All right, I'm gonna go first. And she was one of the first ones that decided to go live and do her webinar. She had technical difficulties, but she pressed through anyhow, right? She pressed through anyhow. Oh, look at that. You were on one of her midnight lives. So see, she did a Zoom webinar. Zoom dropped her off or something like that. Like she fell off, but her people were still waiting for her. Like they did not move. When she got back on that live, do you realize her tribe, her audience was still on that webinar waiting for her? And so it was so funny because she went through all of her content. She followed the steps and literally she closed 8 people by the end of that night into a program. And I think the program might have been $197. I think it was like $200. And by the time additional people reached out to her after the broadcast, do you realize she came back in the group and said she had closed 16 people in this program at like, I really want to say that it was like $197. And so that's $3,000 from where she used to do webinars in her business, right? And check this out. It gets better. Wait, there's more. And so she took them through like an 8-week program. At the end of the 8-week program, I think I must have just like gotten the email that she was doing a, like, not really a farewell, but like a wrap up, right? A session wrap up. Like, this is the end of the program and let's wrap it up. And when I'm your coach, you never know, or when you are in my program, whatever it is, you never know where I'm gonna show up and what you have. I might jump on your live stream. I might jump on your calls. If you send me a Zoom link, I might get in your Zoom link. I'll register for your webinar because I want to make sure that you're implementing the strategies. And if I can provide you feedback real time, I will. And so I just so happened to be on her Zoom as she was doing her wrap up call, right? I go in her DM and she'll tell you. I go in her DM and I say, what are you selling at the end of this broadcast? She was like, nothing. I was like, you got 30 minutes to come up with something to sell at the end of this broadcast. And you want to know why? Once a buyer, always a buyer. I want you to write that down. Once a buyer, always a buyer. I don't know if you guys are familiar that it's easier to keep a current client than it is to obtain a new client. So it was easier for Crystal to just upsell them into the next steps of working with her than it was to go out here and get 16 more clients. Do you realize she called me back and she said, Coach C, she said, do you know I just closed somebody in a one-on-one coaching program at the end of that webinar. My girl. And then she turned around, I think she closed another one-on-one. So she literally made about, I'd say about $5,000 to $6,000 after she participated in our program. And so she made her investment back like 5 times, right? And so she literally said that she did it without any paid ads or anything like that. So webinars really provide the flexibility to capture an international audience. I remember I got my first client from Africa because I was online and I was hosting webinars, right? I have people from the UK that are currently on my list. I have people, I just already told you, I work with a client in London. So, you know, one of the things that I realized as I was growing my business, right? And I'm going to ask you the same thing. Do you want a local brand or do you want a global brand? And I realized that me speaking on stages, unless I'm being invited outside of the country, but I got my passport now, baby. So I'm ready to go outside of the country, right? Um, that's a whole other story, you guys, about me going to Vancouver and getting my passport expedited so that I could go to Vancouver last year to be with my coach. But it was a decision that I had to make, that I wanted a global brand. I didn't want just a local brand. So I didn't want to build I didn't want to build a business that was based on my backyard. I wanted to build a business that will impact people from everywhere in the country and in the world. So let me show you something. If you are live with me right now, I want you to drop, what city and state do you currently live in? Not where you are from, but what city and state are you currently residing in? What is your, you ain't got to put your zip code, but tell me right now, where do you live? I'm going to go ahead and put mine in there since we are there. I am in Chesterfield, Virginia, right? Child global all day, right? I'm telling you, it changed my business when I started to service other clients in other countries. Like, could you ever imagine like having to translate the euro to the US dollar when you do your rate? So right now we have Goldsboro, North Carolina. We have Ohio. We have Abbeville, Alabama. Do you see my point here, you guys? Like, keep telling me where you guys are from. Floyd Knobs, Indiana. I've been to Floyd Knobs, you guys. So look at these people. We got people from Ohio, Alabama, Indiana, Virginia. Like, and I know there's people that are probably not able to comment right now. I think Sherry is in like Texas. Brescia, I think Brescia might be in London as well. I don't know, Brescia, if you can tell us where you are from as well. But I wanted to do that to prove to you that you can gather people from everywhere when you go global. All right. So I have the desire to have a global brand and not just a local brand. So at the end of the day, here's what I want you to walk away with. I need you to understand that the desired result that you like to walk away with at the end of your online launch. You know, is it the fact that you want a 5-figure launch? Do you want to enroll people into your program? Do you want to have one-on-one clients that you're working with, right? Are you mapping out the copy that's required to create a successful launch? And this is really, some of the things that we talk about when we train on doing your webinar launch, and what it takes to actually create the engagement. Oh, Latonia's in Texas too. Create the engagement and excitement with the message that people will show up for, right? So those are things that happen in a planning phase, and we'll talk about this in a little bit as well, right? But when you think about the workshop, the conference, the video series, the challenge, the webinar, right? What is the common denominator in all of those type of launches? At the end of the day, you guys, it's a webinar. And so someone said to me today that webinars is if you're in business and you're in business online, you need to know how to do a webinar in your business, right? And we use webinars to actually launch our upcoming programs. And so I think I shared with you yesterday that I was able to generate $15,000 in 21 days using webinars in my business. And when I put together the Profit Blueprint methodology, which I'll be sharing with you tomorrow, so you got to come back tomorrow for the Profit Blueprint methodology. But what I realized is that there's a system in place that you can literally make $100,000 in 12 months with one program. The last time I calculated, I launched one program over and over again. And every time I launch the program, I enhance it, I change it. we make it better. And the last time I did the calculation, we generated over $77,000. Somebody typed $77,000 with one program in less than 9 months. I think it was 9 months. 9 months, $77,000. All right. Now, here is where, here is why the webinars are so crucial in your business, right? And this is they call it the target market pyramid, or I call it the education-based marketing methodology, right? And here's why this is important. And this is for for you guys that think that your area, your space, your industry is saturated. All right. So pay attention, take a screenshot. Oh, my daughter does this. Just for your screenshot. All right, you got it? Did you get your screenshot? Oh, one more? Okay. Because y'all ain't gonna be having me online. So do me a favor, go out and Profit Producers once we're finished and put your screenshot in the group. Don't y'all be laughing. Like I had to pose for that screenshot because I know y'all just took a screenshot, right? Anyway, all right, so let me tell you what you're looking at, right? So let's just say we have, I know y'all think I'm crazy. Let's just say that you have an audience of 100 people that you're speaking to, whether it be a webinar, live, workshop, right? Do you realize that 3% of the audience is actually ready, willing, and able to buy right now? 3%. 3%, right? 7% are actually open to it. So they actually take it into consideration. It wasn't top of mind, but now that I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you train, I'm listening to you share value, I'm actually open to what it is that you have to offer, right? Then there's a 30% that we're never considering, like hiring a project manager, never considering, what do you call it? Like food preparation, right? Never considering hiring a caretaker or, bringing someone in, for their loved one. Never considering writing a book. Never thought about it. But now that, I'm on your webinar and you're showing me value and the results that I can get from your vehicle, right? Keep talking. This is interesting. How many of you right now are listening to me and like, keep talking, DeKesha. This is good, right? So let's think about it. There's another 30% that are, as they're going through even my masterclass series, as you go through the webinar challenge, as you go through a conference, right? You probably, let me tell y'all, it's some people that sit at a conference like this and be like, I know they're going to sell something at the end, on the last day. I ain't buying. I'm not interested. Let me get my little notebook and take my notes and I'm going home. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Tell the truth, y'all. Y'all know y'all be sitting at them conferences like that. And you sit through, some of you all obtain so much free information and you're wondering why you're not making money in your business. It's because you sitting there just like that. I know she gonna sell something. I'm telling you, right? Don't laugh, don't laugh. But those are the same people that if you show them the results, you can actually shift the way that they look at your vehicle. You can shift the way that they think about using webinars, launching, hiring a VA, hiring a caretaker, hiring a project manager, hiring a launch specialist, writing a book, getting clarity in their life. Whatever the vehicle is that you use, do the math. 30, 30, and 7. Do you see that is 67% of the people that's sitting in the audience? Remember, I said in the audience. 67% of the people that's sitting in the audience are open to your solution. They're not even thinking about it. They're taking into consideration, and they never thought for one moment that they could utilize your program. Somebody throw up their hands and say, Lord, let me market to the 67%. So if you ever feel that your industry is saturated, I want you to come back to the screen. I want you to come back to the screenshot, and I want you to remind yourself to mark it to the 67%. And that is why I say promote the problem and service the solution. I laugh because I was thinking about my daughter yesterday. Promote the problem, service the solution. And I want you to write that down. Somebody write that down. Promote the problem, service the solution. Is this helping? I hope this is helping. All right. And so listen. So what you have to understand as you are preparing the content for your webinar, as you are preparing the content for your upcoming launch, right? How many of you want to launch? How many of you, under the sound of my voice, whether you're watching a replay or not, how many of you right now have something that you want to launch, right? I love to know. Raise your hand, me, whatever it is, let me know how many of you want to launch. All right, awesome. Oh, we got a whole lot of Texas people in here. Well, here's what you need to understand, that each of us, and I'm going to say us, we go through the buyer's journey: awareness, consideration, and conversion. This says decision. Awareness, consideration, and conversion, right? Awareness, consideration, conversion. Remember I said to you, I use live stream for awareness, and I use webinars for conversion. I use live stream for awareness. I use webinars for conversion. Y'all remember that? Awesome. So check this out, right? So this kind of helps you with the buyer's journey. And so in the awareness stage, the prospect is experiencing and expressing symptoms of a problem or opportunity. What does that mean for us? Like for me, I would take note that somebody, they're struggling with their upcoming launch. They don't know where to start with their launch. They don't know what's included to launch. They don't know how to launch. They don't know how to use webinars to create a launch. They, does this fit anybody, anyone that's still here? They don't know how to use a webinar to actually launch their upcoming program. They don't even know what to, hey, Effie, you in Chesterfield with me. They don't know how to use a webinar to launch their upcoming program. And so it's my responsibility to educate them in the awareness stage, right? So there's things that I can do in the awareness stage. Then I give them the opportunity to engage with me, and that's taking them through the consideration phase. Y'all see the process? Y'all had no idea that you were going through this cycle. And it's actually a mental cycle, or neurological cycle. You ever heard of, what is it? What's the neurolinguistic sales process? Like literally, you don't even realize it, but that's what this is, right? And that's kind of what we teach you to go through as you're getting ready to launch, because you're having to shift the way that people think without being salesy. All right, got it. All right, so in my consideration phase, they may be on my email list. They may be participating in some of my Profit Producers free training in my Facebook group. All right, but then I am going to have a conversion mechanism. I am going to have a methodology in which I shift them from prospect to client. And so in the decision stage, a prospect has now decided on their solution, strategy, method, or approach. All right, I'm going with DeKesha. I'm going to call DeKesha. I need to work with DeKesha, right? I'm going with Sherry. I'm going with Johnny Mack. I'm going with Terrence Leverage. I'm going with Karen. I'm going with Brittany. I'm going to use their particular services, their products, because she has shown me, he has shown me that they can help me get the results that I desire in my business. Somebody type awareness, consideration, and conversion. Awareness, consideration, and conversion. All right, so once you grasp that, now you can understand the phases of a product launch. And as we are wrapping it up, I do want to walk with you over the phases of a product launch. Cool? Awesome. Oh, Dr. Rashida. So real quick, oh my God. So I worked with Dr. Rashida for several years, and Dr. Rashida, she was already selling over 6 figures on Amazon alone. Like, listen, she has gone to China to actually buy products to sell them on Amazon. Awareness, consideration, conversion. Awareness, consideration, conversion. But I helped Dr. Rashida Mendez create an online course to teach other people how to make 6 figures on Amazon. How super cool is that? And awareness, consideration, conversion. And so she literally launched this program, and I mean, this program was selling like hotcakes, and I don't even know if hotcakes is still, if they're still selling, right? But I remember she was at a Power Networking conference, which is one of the largest African American conferences in the United States of America. And she had a booth, and she had a vendor booth set up, and she would do a presentation. You had to sign in for the live presentation, write your name down, your information. She was literally doing a presentation, and at the end, she invited them to get access to the course. And I think the course was like $797, $997. Let me tell y'all, I know she did over $50,000 in 3 days selling this particular course at Power Networking Conference. All right, awesome. Just found $300,000 in trimming a budget for a client. They just extended my contract for 60 days. Solve a problem, they stay. Amen and amen, right? So real quick, let's talk about the planning phase, right? In the planning phase, what I tend to do is I make sure that my clients are really understanding what would they like to deliver at the end of their launch. What's the core offer that you're going to be offering? Hey, Chris, what's going on? Hey, Terrence, what is the core offer? And then what's your revenue goal? So I have a spreadsheet that I give to my clients to help them actually see, visualize how they're going to do their first $25,000 in their first launch. And actually, it can go from $25,000 to $40,000 depending on the price point of your product and how many people actually enroll and how many people you actually get to actually sign up, and then how you convert, right? And so that goes into the planning. And then it's all about the company assets that you're going to need. There's going to be software that you're going to need, webinar software, landing page software, email marketing software, text messaging software. Yes, this is recorded, and you will have access to day 1 and day 2 until the end of the week. I will be taking the videos down at the end of the week. But yes, and so the planning is about, I'm looking at, so I have, this is not the color version, but I actually, 4 through, yep. So planning takes about 3 weeks. I had to make sure I'm telling y'all right. So planning takes about 3 weeks, and we operate on a 12-week, methodology. Like I give them this and I teach them this. And so what I want you to understand is in the planning phase, you also determine the launch strategy. So I've just shared with you in this video the 4 types of launches that you can do in your business. And so literally in week 2, we look at, okay, well, what type of strategy are you going to use? What's the best fit for your audience and for your industry? And then we look at the assets and the software that's going to be required to pull this launch off for you, right? And then even in the planning phase, you guys, we really look at, we look at developing the copy. Like, I don't think that you guys understand or people understand how much copy. And when I say copy, I mean like sales page copy, Facebook ad copy, email copy, social media post copy. Do y'all realize how much copy goes into an actual launch, right? And this is so that you can remember the journey, the awareness, consideration, and conversion. There's copy for each phase of that, which is, you have to take that in consideration when you are planning out your launch, all right? So those are the key factors when you are looking at planning out your launch. And then we have pre-launch. So you haven't opened enrollment yet, but you're really getting, you're gearing up. Remember that engagement sequence, that engagement where you're actually creating the hype? All right, so that takes place about maybe 2 months prior to. Yeah, 2 months prior to, right? How many of you actually have my launch blueprint? Some of my students are actually on here. Raise your hand, type me if you got my 12-week blueprint that you currently are using as you launch right now. What's up? All right, but anyway, and then so we start to look at promoting, lead gen, like really building up your lead gen. Like what kind of lead generation tool do you have to really get people that are interested, right, into your ecosystem? I couldn't think of the word, right? And then I help them test and tweak. So you got to test and tweak when you're launching, y'all. Especially they said, me, right? Do you realize that in the pre-launch phase, you still are testing and tweaking because you're testing your copy to see if it works, right? And all of these things are taking place in the pre-launch phase. Then we have the absolute best part of launches. And this is actually when the cart opens. Yes. Oh my gosh. This is when your PayPal goes off. This is when you get the notification of payment received, because this is the actual week that you do your challenge, you do your workshop, you do your video series, you do your webinar. That is when you are launched. You are full launch mode. So if anyone ever asks you, are you in launch mode? You should say yes, because either you planning for a launch, you pre-launch, you in a launch, or you coming out of launch, right? So if I ask you right now, I should be able to ask you, are you in launch mode? And you should say yes. All right. If you don't say yes, we have a problem, my friend. Hey, Jermaine, how are you? And then post-launch is where we actually debrief. And this is a very, very crucial part of a launch. One of the most important parts. I think all of them are important, but one of the most important parts of the launch is the debrief, because now you're looking at everything that you've done in 12 weeks, right? Everything that you've done in 12 weeks. And this is where you've already pitched by this time, right? And so now you're looking at what worked, right? What do you need to tweak the next time that you do this? What do you need to change the next time that you actually launch, okay? And then you can go in and start to make adjustments for the next time you launch. So notice that I said that it's a 12-week process, right? So 12 weeks is month 1, month 2, and month 3. How many months are in the quarter? 3. So you should be launching every quarter. Are y'all connecting the dots now? You should be launching every quarter. Now, every quarter, $25,000, 25 times 4 is 100. That's 100K. I rest my case. Court adjourned. Keisha Bass actually followed. I told you about her yesterday where she had a program that was sitting idle on a shelf. She was promoting different products. And not only did she come into Webinar Success Blueprint and learn how to use webinars to grow her list, the first time she did a webinar, she had over 300 people that actually signed up for her webinar. But she actually took it a step forward. She joined Get It Done Coaching and utilized the 12-week process. And it's so funny because the first time she did it, I'm trying to think. She did $5,000. That's what it was. The first time she did her launch, she did $5,000. And we debriefed. We debriefed. How many of y'all can use $5,000 in your first launch? Just say me. I know I got y'all talking a lot. I like to know that I'm not here by myself. All right. Anyway, after we did a debrief, she added the challenge to it. That's what it was. She did the webinar model the first time. She did $5,000. The second time she did the challenge model, and she added the challenge plus the webinar. And so remember I said you tweak one thing, we debrief, and so she added an element to the launch. She ended up closing, I think she closed 10 people, and then she did an upsell where she did implementation, and I think she increased the price to about $2,500 $3,000, and she had her first 5-figure launch on her own program, not selling anyone else's program. And so now she's continued to scale, and she's continued to recycle, what do they say, rinse and repeat the process, and to continue on to have successful 5-figure launches. So she is on her way to having her first $15,000, $20,000 launch just by implementing this 12-point process and really understanding the 4 phases to a profitable product launch. So if you haven't gotten anything out of here today, it's a matter of understanding that webinars are the most effective method to create a 6- and 7-figure business. I want you to jot that down in your notes. And so just to kind of wrap up, right, and review, it's really about understanding the phases of a product launch. So we talked about the planning phase, the pre-launch phase, the launch phase, and actually post-launch phase, right? And what really happens in those 4 particular areas. And then it's a matter of rinse and repeat and really recycling your content. So once you build a foundation of your launch, the good thing about it is you don't have to create it. You just keep launching the same program and perfecting it every time that you launch. And then understanding that, you know, promote the problem, service the solution. Webinars are, yes, the most effective method to create a 6- and 7-figure business. But understanding that the way to get people on that webinar is really promoting the problem and service the solution. So I want you to jot that down real quick, right? Promote the problem and service the solution. And so live streams for awareness and webinars for conversion. So I'm looking at my notes because I wanted to make sure I put these in the review for you. And then don't overcomplicate a simplistic process. Don't overcomplicate a simplistic process. All right. And then, you know, really focusing on the 3 types of launches. And so as we wrap up today, remember, you know, tomorrow is day 3, and then we're going to have a masterclass, and I want you guys to actually sign up and register for the masterclass. But it's all going to be about how to master the Webinar Success Blueprint, the launch series. And really, it's all about talking about how can you too use webinars and launch your upcoming program. Fair enough? All right, so listen, I am not going to hold you guys long today, but I am super excited. I really, really, really hope that you are going back and listening to the replays of these particular master classes. I hope that you are, you know, able to take away information from these. Promote the problem and service the solution. So before I leave, yes, launch mode, baby. Are there any questions that you guys have? Please comment them below, and I'd love to either incorporate them in a further conversation over in our group, ProfitProducerMovement.com. That's ProfitProducerMovement.com. I'd love to stay in the conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining, Terrence. I appreciate that. My name is DeKesha Williams, your virtual COO. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable. I'll see you guys next time.